What's going on, guys? Rome with Roamer. I'm here with Dan from 1000 ASINs, and he has a goal of selling 10 million on Amazon this year. He's at 5.5 million for the year.
Yep, just about
5.5.
5.7.
5.7. I knew I wanted to underestimate it so he could
Yeah.
correct me instead of overestimating you. But thanks for coming on, man, and we look forward to hearing about how you got to that point and really hearing more about your journey. If you guys don't know Dan, I mean, he's just got one of those Instagram accounts that you just go through and it's just screenshots of sales. I love accounts like this. Usually guys that are like worse at social media, I'm not saying you're bad at social media, but you don't post a lot.
I am bad. I'm terrible. So,
but they just have they're like, I don't know what to post, but he's like, I'm doing this on Amazon. He's doing like a ridiculous number of sales. And so it's pretty cool to bring people on like this because a lot of times people that don't post as much on social media should be on social media more than the people who are all over the place on social media and have like 5K in sales or something. So excited to have somebody on the show who's doing big numbers and really excited to talk to you about both wholesale and OA. And this is a perfect time to talk to you because I don't know if you've been following me much, but that's all I've been focusing on the last few months. And it's been extremely humbling. And I hope to learn from your story. And I also hope not to talk too much in this video because I want to hear your story. So if you can take us back to the beginning stages, and for everyone watching this, make sure to watch to the end because you're going to hear all about his story. And then also, not only will his Instagram be linked below, but other videos that we shoot that go more in depth in how he finds profitable products. So without further ado, tell us a little bit about how all this Amazon stuff began.
Look, grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking well show. And party central to my well ones, a night of violated hell codes. Dope sells like the charge do, but selling's all about potential.
So my Amazon journey started in late 2018. So I'm coming up on about 4 years total now. Before that, I had no idea what selling on Amazon was, and I was actually a real estate agent in New York City, and I was just kind of tired with the career, and I was looking for a change. But at first, I was looking actually just for a supplemental income or a little side hustle. I've always been attracted to little hustles, so I just came across a YouTube video on passive income from Amazon FBA, and I just watched the video. It was actually about private label, which I never ended up going into.
Do you remember whose video it was?
I really don't.
Was it like Matt Loberstein? Was it Trevin? Probably wasn't posting that much.
Yeah, it wasn't Trevin yet. It was I honestly forget.
Scout
yes, you got it. Greg Mercer. Yeah, Jungle Scout. So they put out a bunch of videos back then. I became kind of captivated with the whole Amazon thing.
Did you give that like 100% a go for private label?
I didn't. I never even started. I paid for the software. I researched some products, even got it so far as to contacting some suppliers on Alibaba and getting quotes and stuff. And then I just added up all the money and time involved. And then I decided not to go that direction at first because, as I started watching more videos, I came across retail arbitrage and wholesale. And I found those videos at the perfect time, really. And I'm like, oh, this is a much easier way to just dip my toes in the water rather than, 100%. Take 20, 30 grand and learn all these skill sets immediately and then learn PPC advertising, all this complicated stuff. And at the time, it was like the number one way people were teaching how to sell on Amazon, private label, for beginners. But in my opinion, it's the most advanced way to sell on Amazon. It should be like almost the last thing you try to accomplish on Amazon rather than first, unless you come from like a background of product development or advertising, stuff like that. But
right.
But if you're just starting out, you have a limited bankroll or don't want to risk that much money and just want to, small ball it, I'd recommend arbitrage as the way to start.
So did you start with retail arbitrage?
I started with the combination of retail arbitrage and online. So I just downloaded a scanning app that someone recommended on YouTube, and I walked through a couple stores right in my area. Like I walked through the Target and Dick's Sporting Goods, Office Depot, whatever. Found a few items just scanning, got like 5 or 10 of them, spent $50, $100, just like, couldn't be smaller of a commitment. But I just wanted to test it, learn how to list products, how to send them to Amazon, how to use Seller Central.
And you're still working at this point?
Yeah, I was still working full time. And
at what point were you able to quit your job? 2018 or?
Yeah, just like a year later. I ramped it up.
2019 was the year that you quit?
Yeah, 2019 was my first full-time year.
Okay.
So 19, 20, 21. Yeah, so I've done it 3 full years, and then this is my 4th full year, full-time. And then 2018 was kind of like started in like July or something, and then Q4 happened a few months later. So, but I saw the potential pretty much immediately. And once I got to the point where I was kind of like replacing my income with Amazon, I decided to just take the plunge.
So did you get to like 5-figure months just with retail?
Yeah, it was about that. Yeah, it was like, I think I was making like 10, 15K net per month within 12 months.
Nice.
And that I was like, I enjoy this so much more than real estate agency.
So what did the cash flow look like for that? Because me starting this, like I've gone like crazy. I spent like 100,000, and I don't recommend anybody do that. But I have a pretty good network, and I know at least that money will come back to me. Hopefully, who knows?
Yeah.
But what was like the progression like in terms of? Okay, now I can pay myself. Like, what month were you able to actually, or were you in a position where you didn't need to?
Yeah, I didn't need to pay myself. I fortunately, I did pretty well with real estate and had some money in the bank and own a few properties and stuff. So like I was starting from a good position where I didn't need to like pay myself a salary. So that's fortunate for me that I was able to do that. If I weren't in that position, I know it would be tougher to grow as fast as I did, because if you pull money out for a salary, that's money you can't reinvest into inventory. So it's hard to grow your sales unless you're putting all your profit back into more inventory and like churning more and more and more and more. That's how you achieve rapid growth. So the first year I didn't take any salary, maybe in the first couple of years, and I'd occasionally draw money from the business for like, this or that, a few thousand at a time, but I didn't get on a monthly salary until last year. And now I pay myself like $100K a year salary and try to leave almost everything else in the business that I can. Nice. So even though I could pull out 10 times that much every year, I don't want to, because I need to keep it in to keep growing.
100%.
So, yeah.
When it comes to like learning, because at Retail Arbitrage, who did you learn from? Or how did you learn? Did you invest in any courses for that? Or did you just go out and learn it?
Yeah, I just went out and learned it. I just kind of self-taught myself for the most part.
What about online arbitrage? Was there more of a learning curve with that?
Trying to think back. Online, it was again from pretty much YouTube and like free resources I downloaded, and then
no courses or anything.
Oh yeah, you know what? I did pay for one thing. I paid Chris Grant from Tactical Arbitrage. He had a course how to use Tactical Arbitrage, and
okay.
So I paid for that.
Do you still use Tactical Arbitrage to this day?
I don't anymore, because I'm not really looking for new arbitrage products unless they like fall into my lap as like a good opportunity. All the new accounts that I'm getting are all wholesale accounts, but I have some online arbitrage product lines that have been good for several years, and they're just good year in, year out, and like, I hold on to those. And my criteria.
You drop those ASINs in the chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so RA, OA, when did the wholesale come in, and what did that learning curve look like? Was there any courses you invested in? What people did you learn from?
Yeah, so I watched Watch Me Amazon's videos.
I love his videos.
Yeah, I was already probably 6 to 12 months into arbitrage, and then he came out with his very first YouTube video.
You guys have something in similar. You're always in your fucking warehouses. Whenever I talk to him, it's like he's in his warehouse. Yep.
Yeah, he's a grinder for sure. So his videos really inspired me to get into wholesale. Like I just watched his first few, and I was like, man, everything this guy's saying just is the truth. for
Yeah,
the
you
wholesale
can
stuff.
tell the people that are just like saying stuff to sound good, and then the people that are actually saying things that are helpful.
Sure,
And I
sure.
think if you don't do Amazon, you can't really tell the difference between these two people. But once you start doing it a little bit, you're like, this person is full of shit. Like they're just saying things.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
they're just trying to get views or affiliate link clicks or
For
course
sure.
sales.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of that in Amazon, but
Yeah.
but I guess that's everywhere, you know.
So, but you weren't in his course; you just watched his free content.
Yeah, just watch this free content and yeah, just kind of figured stuff out. I don't know. There really wasn't any like one person that like got me to this level.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm learning from like everybody right now. I did the same thing with books. I just learned from everyone I could, and I'm doing like selfishly having you on the show. I learned so much just from watching you and Miles, Buy Box Bandits, and like I said before the podcast, his course. You guys shot like a private video, but I'm just like absorbing every bit of information.
For sure.
I believe in courses, so I've paid for a few. I can't really speak on them yet because
I actually purchased the Amazon Lit course for my buyer to kind of like train him up on how to do all this stuff. I haven't even watched it, but I did watch it. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw a video he shot the other day of how important it is to train your buyer correctly.
For sure. Yep.
So okay, OA. What spin did you get up to in OA before you did wholesale?
That's probably spending maybe like $50K a month or something.
Okay.
And then like grossing, 100 to 150,000 a month. And then that's when
at 50K spend a month, how difficult was that for you to get past like all the weird stuff you have to deal with OA, like order cancellations and like that kind of stuff? Was that difficult, or would you kind of dial in and like know what to do?
Yeah, I actually avoided retailers that cancel out of orders because I just didn't have the patience, didn't have the skill set. I have a lot of respect for like a lot of the sneaker and streetwear arbitragers. Like that is so hard. You have to like jig addresses and like use bots and like all this complicated stuff and like keeping track of what you even ordered and what shipped and what, making sure you got refunded for everything. It's like so complicated. And for me, rather than try to get really, really good at dealing with that, which a lot of people are, I went the other direction and said, like, let me just source from retailers that don't cancel orders unless, they're truly out of stock. So I just avoided that problem and went to retailers that I can order a large volume that reliably ship the stuff and don't cancel it. And that's what I did. Yeah. So
and what did that 50K purchase look like? Are you going narrow?
It'd be like pretty deep on some really fast moving items. Like
so despite the name 1000 ASINs, you went pretty narrow on that product selection.
Yeah,
what are we talking, like 10 ASINs, 20, 100?
I've had and still have one product line that it's about 20 ASINs, and I sell the slower ones sell like a couple hundred units a month. The faster ones sell like probably 2,000 or 3,000 units a month.
And these are OA?
Yeah, OA. Yeah, like big volume, and I can just order it off the site, and like they'll ship it all as long as they have.
And are you getting like are you using like any type of discount code for that, or is there like a bulk purchasing discount you get?
There's no bulk discount, but yeah, I do use like the main things I've talked about before to like get the best possible price, which is like utilizing cashback websites, utilizing discounted gift cards, waiting for a sale. Like I know this retailer so well that I know like the cadence of like what type of sales they're doing, what constitutes like a great sale versus like a mediocre sale.
Gotcha.
So I'd recommend like learning your retailers that you're sourcing from, like as much as you possibly can. Like what's the frequency of their sales? Like, are they on a regular schedule, or like, then you can wait to like, so what I do with this retailer, I wait until there's a great sale. There are good sales and there are great sales. So I wait for like a great sale and just go apeshit basically, and just like try and get everything I possibly can when I know the price like rock bottom. Then I wait a couple months and I do the same thing when the sale's back. So
yeah, I've kind of noticed that as a trend in the successful people in the community. You
Yeah.
wait, a sale happens, and like they're like, I spent like 200,000. I'm like, wait, what? I thought you were spending
Exactly.
$3,000 a day. I thought that was your goal, and it's like, no,
Right.
it's you spend when the sale occurs.
Yeah, for sure.
So, at what point did you get your warehouse?
Year 2, I got my warehouse. So
So
I
prior to that, were you just prepping yourself?
right out of my apartment. Yeah.
Okay.
I just had stacks of like toys on my couch and like other stuff on my coffee table. It was pretty funny, but it got to the point where it's just stupid. Like, and then like all these packages would come to my building. I'd have to like lug them upstairs and like undo them and prep them, put them back in
You never
boxes.
went the prep center route?
I used the prep center at first, but I didn't have a great experience with that one that I used. So I was like, oh, I'll just control this all myself. But
Yeah.
I'm not against prep centers. I use one right now even. And I'm actually going to be starting one. So prep centers are great. But yeah, I kind of was like stubborn at first and just like, I want to control this whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And so what's your focus now? Are you just focusing on wholesale then, scaling that? Like,
Yeah, focusing on wholesale, and I'm starting my first private label brand right now with a partner. So delving into that, I'm even working on some agency stuff. Like that's a business model that a lot of the biggest wholesale sellers are venturing into now, because brands are getting smarter and smarter about Amazon. A lot of them wanted to sell themselves, don't really know how, but they want to. So that's where an agency would step in and be like, we'll just take a percentage of your revenue and manage the Amazon channel for you.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I'm hopefully landing my first agency client. So I'm kind of like branching out. I'm seeing what the huge sellers are doing, like Caspian and Retail and Pattern, like the mega sellers. And on their websites, they have products like that. So I'm kind of like trying to emulate that a little. But yeah, like the wholesale business, my buyers just like reaching out to accounts all day. And I have a good friend who's a similar size seller. He is a buyer. We actually share a lot of our accounts and combine our purchasing power, which is beneficial to both of us. So we just have so many accounts. There are like multiple coming in every week. There's more money we could spend than we have money to. So now we just like cherry pick the best stuff. So it's a very good position to be in. And I know a lot of beginners are in the opposite position. I was too at first.
Yeah.
Where
I definitely want to talk more with you about wholesale. So that video is going to be below where we really dive in the weeds with that. But in terms of like just getting started for the beginner and, hearing your journey starting from, you said you're a realtor?
Yeah. As a real estate agent.
And so some people are like, well, I don't have that much money, or maybe they just have like a few $1,000s. Like if somebody really has like the self-confidence in themselves to get started and they've seen like their friends do this, they've seen people on Instagram do this, what advice would you have for them getting started in terms of like granular, like what types of products should they be focusing on in terms of like maybe price point, velocity?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think is like the quickest way for them to scale?
Yeah, so I would focus on high ROI items. So if I had like $1,000 or $2,000 to start, I would start cheap items, $10 or less. There's a program in Amazon called Small and Light where the fulfillment fees are a lot lower. You have to enroll the products in it, but there are a lot of products where you can spend $1 and make $2 profit, or spend $2, make $2, and those ROIs are huge. 100% ROI, 150. I have some products that are like 300% ROI. So that's a way to compound your money. Like the goal in the beginning with a limited bankroll is compound that money as much as possible.
And how important is speed in turning that money over?
Yeah, speed's important, but I'm I guess sort of indifferent versus like getting 50% ROI in 2 weeks versus 100 in 4 weeks. I guess the 50 in 2 weeks is better because then you can reinvest it faster. But but I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to like
I
churning
think one thing
stuff fast
people don't
versus
consider is if you have that higher ROI, not only do you have higher ROI, but if you also have the safety that if the product tanks, you're not losing money. Yep. I think a lot of people don't really consider that.
Sure. Yeah, the longer a product is on Amazon, the more risk there is in terms of the price being lower 6 months from today. Sometimes it can work in your favor. Sometimes like an item's discontinued and like you're the beneficiary of it 6 months down the road as like the last guy left. You can charge like double, but it's a risk nonetheless. So yeah, if you want to like ensure that you get your ROI, then I'd focus on faster movers and just get that money back quick. So I'd say, yeah, low price point, enroll the products in small night, look for stuff that costs like $1 or $2 and makes $1 or $2. And then that way you can, buy 1,000 little tiny items and sell them all. And then your 1,000 is then 2,000 and then rinse, repeat. And then as you have more money, you can take lower ROIs, add more products. But I would focus on ROI and
would you like when you say that, are you talking about online arbitrage, small and light, or are you talking about like find brands or distributors? Like where?
Yeah, online arbitrage is good to start. I wouldn't go straight to wholesale personally because the wholesale game now is a lot about spending huge amounts and going really deep on items. Like a lot of times for fast movers, like the only way you can make your like 15-20% margin is to buy their highest price tier, which is like sometimes 5,000 units. So like it's just out of the question, like
right,
unless you have a big bankroll to like spend $50K on one SKU. So I would definitely go wide and go with like retail or online arbitrage to start. Yep.
What constitutes that smaller light? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but it's got a price point, right?
Oh yeah. So the rules for that is yeah, exactly. So it's priced at $10 or less on Amazon. They just changed this too, like a month ago. It's much more generous now.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching this video later, it may have changed again. So
yeah.
You can just type in small and light POS Seller Central, and it should tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Just type in like FBA small and light, and then a one-page thing on it will show up. But yeah, it's 3 pounds max, and then it's like there's a max length and width, but it's pretty generous. I think it's max like 14 inches or something. So
that's actually a lot bigger than I thought. Like, could this be small and light? This camera?
Potentially, yeah. It potentially could. Although you don't want to sell that for $10.
Yeah.
Of it.
But, just to get the small and light discount.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm actually on it right now. So let's see. 18 by 14 by 8 inches or less. So that's a pretty big item, actually. Really.
So are you like actively, like, would you recommend a beginner, like whatever website they're on, like just look for smaller items? Is that how you would recommend going about it, or using like Keep a Product Finder, or using Tactical Arbitrage? Like, what do you think? Like,
is
any
of the above,
most efficient way to source, or store stocking too? Like, what do you think is like the best method for a beginner?
Yeah, beginner. I'd say maybe just go into clearance sections in store. For online, it's kind of the same. Like try and go into the clearance and like manually arbitrage. Like I found some stuff manually. You don't necessarily need like a big spreadsheet software. If something just looks like a good deal, it's like type in the product in an Amazon search bar. And a lot of times you're like, oh crap, I can actually sell this and pick up stuff that's cheap and just go for it. And like worst case, like you learn. And if something doesn't go your way, it's like, you're not out a ton of money. So I'd recommend just buying like 10 of this, 10 of that, cheap price point, and just learn from every buy you do. And just if it goes well, like double down. If it doesn't, then buy something else.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you got to be resilient in Amazon for sure.
Yeah,
like you got to
everything you do, especially when you're spending money. You got to be resilient. You got to be humble. You got to be willing to lose money. A lot of people aren't. So I appreciate you coming on, man. You guys can find his Instagram below. Make sure to go give him a follow. Also, if you guys want to talk with guests like this, maybe one day we'll have him come on a private Zoom call. Doing private Zoom calls here, absolutely free. Go to roamer.biz. Once every few weeks, I'll send a Zoom link out when I get a couple hundred people on the email list. And we'll talk with people. And you guys can come on, show your faces, and ask questions like I am to top-level Amazon sellers. So appreciate you, Dan.
You got it. Good to be here. Talk soon.